Oh,
It's gonna be good. Oh, we are sponsoring.
Whiskey, deep talk.
We'll see.
We're back in action. We're back in action.
Yes, sir. Don't mind these snacks.
Demonstration. That's the, local. But yeah, welcome guys to our new episode of OpinionOutlaws. As you can notice, we have made a little slight changes to our, episode and how would I say? Conduct this episode. And first thing you probably have noticed that we are not holding phones anymore.
Let's go.
So that's a new upgrade. And we're free to move around as well. So you can still hear our voice properly. At least I hope this is working properly.
Well, it showcases that it works, but...
So, yeah.
Let's see.
My brother man over here decided that, we need to step up. And he got us a new microphone. So that's how would I say?
It was a necessity, can I say that?
Yes, exactly, necessity, especially when we want to provide the highest quality of audio that we can right now with our budget. And also, for now at least, we still gotta use my handy phone to shoot. But hey, it has done the job, so we can't really complain. But yeah,
Yes, sir.
you also might have noticed a slight change that we are missing one of our co-hosts. Or at least for now, they're our ex-co-host.
Yes.
And would you like to explain what has happened and why we're missing one of our host mates?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for all this. Thank you for all this. I appreciate it that much. I'm gonna be honest, maybe it's good or maybe it's better that you start with the story that what happened. Because you first talked to him before me. Because he called both of us and you answered before me.
True. So actually let us give a quick recap on what has happened before that. And well, probably based on the previous episodes that you have guys seen, we were doing all right. And the episodes were rolling, I would say. Like we started going off way better than what we had in previous season, in a sense. And I had to leave our city to go to my other homeboy's city for some time. So I wasn't with our co-hosts for some time. And we didn't get to make any episodes for a certain period of time. We haven't made any episodes for like a month.
About a month.
So that was that. And yeah, one day I was at work and I noticed that I received a phone call. And I was like, who called me at this hour? And I checked and it was our co-host Pyry. And he called me. And I was like, let me call him back real quick. He probably has something to worry about or something. So let me check him up. I called him and yeah, he started off with the, how it was good, the greetings and all that. And then we went to the part of, he was like, I gotta be honest with you. And I was like, yeah, tell me what's going on. And he said like he has had like a lot of his in his mind and he has thought about this through a couple of times already. And he has decided that he needs to separate from the channel or from the Opinion Outlaw. And I was like, well, Dave, I mean, you understand as well. It comes out of in a sense, it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wasn't fully surprised, but I was surprised to some degree because it came out of nowhere.
Of course.
So I was like, damn, bro. And remember, guys, so when we're telling this right now, we're not bashing anybody, and like we said, we still like our co-host, ex-co-host, and we're in good terms and all that. So this is just like a summary for you guys, so y'all will understand what is going on.
Yeah. I don't want to see no post like,
oh, he's suddenly he's fighting right now. He's throwing hands. No. It was in all good like spirit. But yeah, he told me like he has thought about it for some time right now, and like where he's directing his life, or which direction he's going right now, and he has chosen that he will not continue as a co-host. And I was like, okay, I understand you. And could you like explain your background, why, and so on. And he mentioned that during our like shootings and while we were communicating during the episode, he felt like that he wasn't giving as much as what me and Idal, for example, were giving. Like he felt that he was slacking a bit on it. And
not because listen, he's not saying that he's not competent. He's just saying Bagid is telling you a story that in his point of view, that's how he viewed it.
That's how he viewed. So like none of us gonna say that he was slacking on it like visibly or anything, but that's how he felt. So I was like, oh yeah, I feel you, I understand you. And how I kind of slightly perceived it as well was that he was drained as well to some degree. Of course, we understand each of us have work and other things to do as well, and constantly some of us have to be in a grind state, so doing something extra on top of that might feel draining, especially when, well, how we be doing the episodes for like hour and a half, so that requires some type of energy. So he said like he felt that this ain't it, and yeah, that wasn't much bad blood in it. And you know, I told my part, I told him what I understand, and I appreciated that he called, because that was the number one thing. Because if y'all remember in our previous episode, we talked about the breakup that he had with his actual band.
Yeah.
And how it happened, and I was like, I appreciate, because he did exactly what he wished his band would have done back then. And I was like, yeah, thank you very much for calling, and this was at least something that I could respect, that it was a call, not a text message, because that would have been interesting. yeah, my boys, I coming with a text message and bye. And yeah, and I was like, asked him that, has he talked with you? And he said like he couldn't reach you yet, so y'all will talk when you get out of work, because you were in that work as well that day.
Yes.
It was that day you were at work. So I was like, yeah, I understand him. And I told him as well, for me, I'm not, I take this seriously now, to be in each episode and give my, what I got in my mind and all that. But I take it as well as a hobby to some degree, so I won't stress myself.
Yes.
Because how we understood from what Pyry said, he feels like this is more of a job right now, rather than something he enjoys to do or as a hobby. So that was his reason, at least toward me. And I was like, I understand you and I feel you. And no deeper, no deeper meaning to that.
Yeah.
Any deeper meaning to that. So I was like, we good and all that. And I told him to talk to Idel, and if there's a possibility, we could have had a group conversation as well. And actually suggested for us to have a final episode together, where we would have had him here as well, talk with us about the situation. But he felt that it was slightly off and wouldn't have been the best possible way of living, because he probably would have been quiet most of the time, and it would have been awkward in some sense. So I understood that as well. So we decided that he ain't gonna be in this episode at all, and we had our private conversation, and that was that, at least in my part. But right now we want to also hear, Idel, how y'all conversation went, because you actually talked on the phone, and you also met while having a coffee together.
Yes, so you're absolutely right. My conversation was pretty similar on the phone when what I did, because I work in a place where there's a gym and a sauna.
Oh, flex.
So therefore, I always go before my work to the gym and then sauna. So I'm not on my phone for, I would say, for majority of my day. Now, I work 8 hours a day. Now take that account that hour and a half, 2 hours takes me to go to the gym, do the gym workout, go to the sauna, take the shower, take your care of yourself. And so it means about 9-10 hours I'm not on my phone at all. But for some reason, I took my phone, I was checking something after the gym, and I was at work at that moment. I was at work, I was checking my phone, and I saw Pyry called me. Now I had the same reaction, like, he doesn't call you just for like, hey, how you doing? You get what I'm saying? Like,
you good, my boy? Yeah. That was all.
yeah, you get what I'm saying? Like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm good. What about you? I'm good. Peace. Like, he doesn't call you for those things.
A certain intention usually behind that call.
Yeah, there is some kind of intention behind it. And I was like, okay, there must be an important thing. So I call him. He answers and hey, how you doing? Good. And I said, what's up? He explained to me the same thing that he explained to you, that podcasting is not the thing for him anymore. He cannot give he's not, in his point of view, he's not giving as much as we are giving to this podcast. And the weakest link is the strongest link in the group. It was his argument. And I said to him that, well, it's kind of shame because I started with him this podcast. Like, we're talking
Founders.
we're talking about now, we are 2 years and 1 month in, officially, like in YouTube. If unofficially, we're talking about 2 and 3-4 months, about 2.5 years.
Yeah, it has been that long.
Unofficially. Officially, we started YouTube in 7th April.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
April of 7th.
Yeah.
About 2 years ago. The Snapchat showed me one day that that's why I remembered that. The Snapchat showed me one day that when we started, and from that group that we started, I'm the only one now that is still
The actual founder.
the actual founder. But then, of course, if we have great assets like my man over here. Oh, that was crazy.
Dab. I've noticed now we had like a couple of like perfect dabs.
And we also have always had this mindset in this podcast and outside of this podcast that if something helps us to become better, we will take it. We will use it, but of course not in expense of the other important things or values that we have. So therefore, I was like, okay, cool. I understand that I'm not torn apart of it. Like you said, it is a breakup, right? It is a breakup. And now we are compensating.
Elevate.
But the point was that I was not fully surprised. Like you said, I was not fully surprised, like, oh, it came out of nowhere.
I was shook.
I was shocked. Oh, I couldn't do nothing that day. Curl myself up and take some ice cream. However, I still was bamboozled. I was bamboozled because I couldn't link it up. Like, okay, where is the link that he has felt like this, or he has this kind of approach to this podcast? And I wanted to get a better feel of him, and because of course phone call.
Usually you don't get like full details.
Like think about the breakup. I believe everybody has experienced some kind of breakup, and I know for myself and for you,
shit.
we have experiences of a woman just sending a text message.
Dave, don't remind me the good old. Yeah, I don't think this worked no more. What the?
The phone call and then face to face. Now, out of all these, face to face is the hardest one but it's also, I would say, like cleanest one.
The cleanest one.
You-
Hands down, the cleanest one. Funny thing, I haven't even broken up by a phone call. Mostly has been text or either, or face to face.
Really?
At least I don't remember receiving any phone calls. Like,
Really?
yeah. Unless.
Well, Pyry, you can count them.
Oh shit. Shit.
But yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't think. At least unless I'm speaking about breaking up with the same person, then I might have received like all
Same
of
person. Hold on, wait a second.
Some situation during the certain relationship, you might, have that little bickering of, and you're like, fuck you, I don't want you no more, and then later on you might.
I'm sorry, baby.
So I might have received all the categories, so I'm not fully sure. But yeah, about the future.
But yeah, and the last thing that you want, like you said, is just he texting us and say, "Hey, I don't want to do this anymore. Peace." That's that's a low blow in my opinion. But like you said in the last episode that we did, he talked exclusively about and he has talked before, the band situation where he was all of a sudden excluded out of the band and he didn't know what happened. So what he did was, I believe what any human being should do is that you want to treat others as how they would treat you. And he did that. How he did it, he called us like a man. The best thing he could do was like set up like a group meeting and say, hey, this is the thing. But how you gonna set up a group meeting when he's at work, I'm at work, he's at
it's all different city.
Like everybody is all over the place, and basically the only time we get to like come together like this is usually during the holidays or weekends. Even today, what's day? Labor Day.
Free Labor Day.
Labor Day. We are doing a podcast on Labor Day. It's in Finnish. It's a very big holiday, and people like go around and get wild. And
dumb shit.
You get what I'm saying? Like, and we are doing this work. So
I ain't even get paid enough for this.
And we ain't even get paid, but no worries.
No worries.
Because
part of the journey.
What happens when we do get paid? Tell me that.
We need something more than just bread and water.
You get all of a sudden there are signs.
Oh yeah.
All of a sudden there are signs.
I ain't gonna say none, but you might notice, certain signs.
And I said to him, hey, let's go for a cup of coffee. And he had his own thing, I had my own thing. So afterwards, we set up a date, we went to a coffee and we started talking, and my approach to that conversation was that we still are cool, like he said. We are still cool. It's not that we have any kind of hate or...
Oh, I hate him now. He left the group, man. I ain't gonna speak to him no more, man. Fuck that nigga. Nah, it ain't like that. Like, it was all cool.
No, it's all cool because our thing is that everybody do their own thing. And if you're cool about it, then we are cool about it. But let's say that if he did the reverse, like he just texted us. Of course, I'll be like, hey, what the hell is wrong with you? But and then we went on the coffee, and my approach was that, okay, let me find out, is there more to it? Like, is there some bigger reason behind it? Is it something very personal that he cannot share with us? And I don't want to know that personal thing. I just want to know that, is it a personal thing? Then. The personal stuff, you know this as well. I don't like to know about those stuff. Like, the hell do you look at me for? I'm not your therapist. I'm not your therapist. I'm not your
therapist.
I'm not your therapist. Like, if you want to talk about personal stuff, go to a professional human being who has worked for this and they get paid for that and they have a obligation to keep it a secret.
So this nigga said, I don't get paid for this and I might not even keep it a secret.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If people share anything personal with me, I'm gonna keep it to myself. But I'm starting to feel like, well, you're using me because I know what I'm doing. I know I can handle this trauma that you have. I know I can refrain. I know I can heal. Heal. I know I can heal. But you're using me Why? Because I'm a nice guy? What do you think I am? Therapists get
Tough
paid.
times. We have had tough times, man.
Brother, therapists get paid so many bucks, and I'm doing it for free.
Exactly.
Think about that.
Right.
Anyway,
Back to the topic.
back to the topic, and I started to talk to him, and there was nothing deeper behind it. It was just the fact that what you mentioned, and I got from the phone call that it was the thing that was not inspiring me anymore. It was not motivating in any way, shape, or form, and it started to be one more obligation to his life. And it was interesting because we talked afterwards with Bachit, and we were both in the same perspective looking at it. Like, well, in the last episode he was very active and he was very engaging, he was interacting so much, and then afterwards he even said that, hey, I want also to be doing more
included to the like promoting of our channel, and was it marketing,
social media, and all those parts. And I was like, yeah, cool, let's do it. And then a week after that, something like that, weekend after that, the call comes. Hey,
call.
You're a very nice guy, but it's not you, it's me.
All jokes. All jokes. Yeah, getting the saturation. All jokes.
And honestly, it was just I would say his choice in life, and I don't blame him. I try to understand it.
Yeah, I don't blame nigga, but I understand him. I tried, but I don't understand him.
I try. The only thing I can say is that I understand where he's coming from. I just understand you
personally. Like,
yeah,
if I
personally.
was in your shoes, I wouldn't necessarily.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
if I was in his position, I cannot understand how it would go. But I could also understand that I'm not him. He's a very different person, so therefore he might have a very different perspective, and he has a very different perspective on this thing. And afterwards we haven't talked, but we are guys. Like, I don't know if you have noticed my closest friends that I keep around, or some closest family members. I go months without talking.
The amount of hate I've been receiving from that. You haven't texted me. Nigga, why would I text? I don't have shit to say.
When I see you,
I got you. I ain't even stressing you.
And of course, but it also depends. I understand, for example, what kind of person he is. I don't need to text him like constantly or anything. It's more like, hey, doing a podcast?
Yeah.
Going to the club?
One day? Yeah.
Going to the club?
Yeah. What time? Yeah.
Not even time, we're going.
We going? Okay.
Like,
Like, not like any deeper than that.
And I can say for both of us, we wish only good to Pyry, and we wish that his life keeps having success, because I forgot to mention, he got a new job.
Amen.
A better job.
Amen.
A better paying job.
Amen.
So
actually, I need to find a better job too.
you got this.
We got this.
You got this. And I wish the best for him. I truly do. I have nothing to gain if I hate this man. I have nothing to gain if he doesn't succeed. And I believe so that everybody around me, if they succeed, I'm good.
No, we wish the best, and of course, we don't know. We might have Pyry as our guest in one of our episodes, depending on where we're heading with the channel. Are we gonna redo the whole channel, or what we gonna do? Y'all will find out. And like we said, you might see Pyry as a guest in one of our episodes, and during that episode, he can even explain his perspective on it, so y'all can understand the situation. But this was like a quick rundown on the funny thing. It was a rundown on the communication part.
Yeah,
and the commonalities because like Ida said, he tried to understand where he was coming from Ida's own personal life and experiences, and connect to how Pyry was feeling and why he wanted to leave. And then about the communication of how Pyry actually called rather than text, even though he could have texted us, we just simply, I feel like I don't want to come and continue this thing and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But he, rather than doing that, he called us and went through the whole, conversation. I bet it was not the most comfortable conversation, even for him as well. So that was something that, at least personally, I could respect. Because nobody likes to, put themselves in an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, for sure.
And especially, I bet he had the feeling that he might not know how we react.
Yeah.
Or one of us like, man, fuck you, nigga, man. I hate your asses, so on, so on, so on. So that was, very something, Commonalities,
yeah. Like you said, I respect the man because there is, as I mentioned before, we have experiences with certain type of female nature.
Well, hey, that's sexism right there.
Well, I'm gonna be honest.
I don't give a damn.
I always try to defend myself that I'm not sexist, but I am.
We all are.
I am. I'm gonna be honest. And you know why? It's not because I want to be. It's because every time something happens, like for example, car is crashed. Out of the 10 times, 8 times is the woman. Even at my job, for example. I'm not even taking this away. However,
Getting cancelled.
Misogyny on point now.
Getting cancelled.
What I'm trying to say is that females do it a lot more than males, in my perspective, when they are having this conflict of separating from this person or from this job, that they just text and bounce. I have noticed this more with females than with males. And not just from my personal experience that female, for whatever reason, has said that this man is not my type anymore. I'm not giving blood, by the way. It's not my type anymore. And then Pyry, for example, saying that, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. In these scenarios, for example, female is much more likely to just send you a text message than to call you or to even say that, hey, I want to meet you because I have a very difficult discussion.
Don't forget the good old conversation. We got something to talk about. Something we need to talk about.
Hey, we need to talk. What you need to talk about? What you need to talk about, baby? I've seen that, but also I've seen, for example, outside of myself, where a man is talking to a man, or a female is talking to a female, or a female talking to a man, or a man talking to a female, where they have this place that they're even doing a project or doing a team work or doing they trying to build a relationship or whatever the case may be. The inclination for a female to send text message for them to break up, in a sense, or to separate one another, female have it much higher than males. Not because it's somehow permissible, but because it is much more easier to send a text message than to call, or even you go a step beyond to talk to a person direct, face-to-face, eye contact. And but don't get me wrong, I've also met women who are very direct with this. Like, they are fun and
what the?
You like to hang around with them, and they have a stimulating conversations.
That's stimulating. He was thinking about a whole different thing.
No.
I can hear in his tone of voice that he was thinking about a whole different thing for a moment.
Hell no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Stimulating. Oh, I mean stimulating conversation.
Yes, stimulating conversations. I like those conversations. What you talking about?
Yeah, I can hear that. I can hear that in tone of your voice.
I'm a man of God. You know this. I'm a soldier of God. I'm a warrior of God. I don't do those things. I don't even know what's female.
So if you're speaking the whole topic of a female, most likely the females are blah blah blah. I don't even know what he believes, man. I don't even know.
Hey. Well, what you say? Game is game.
Game is game. Game is game. But hey, like I have the saying of, back to the previous topic.
Yeah. Well, I'll start to gallivant all.
Hey, I have saying that. Hey, it is what it is. It was what it was, and we're here right now. So be it, pretty much. And how I tend to say in situation that when you separate is that if you don't find me, us, or whoever like beneficial for your life during that time, but it has helped you to move forward, so be it. As long as the existing has been positive.
Yeah.
And we can move on forward positively from this, even though we might not be in contact anymore or might not do the podcast, for example. I'm good enough with that. I'm satisfied with that. So,
hey,
and here we are right now.
So be it.
So be it.
So be it.
We're stressing about it, and
so be it. Yeah. And then he said it very well that where now the podcast will be headed.
Oh.
And we didn't even discuss it.
Shit.
All right. So this will be an interesting conversation. But before that, I have a question for you because we talked about the previous episode about the commonalities in the communication in a sense. And this showcased, in my opinion, the commonalities that we have with each other here, with one another and with Pyry. That if there is a difficult conversation to have, we much rather have it in face-to-face. Even though our backgrounds are different, like where I come from, when he comes from, where Pyry comes from, we have a difference in the backgrounds and upbringing. I would say similar, but still different. And yet still we had the conversation or the communication type was very similar to what we actually would do to each other. So it was interesting to actually see in firsthand that we spoke about that subject and then it actually happened.
To us as well.
To us as well. And it was a bad breakup, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
Damn, bro.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I was waiting. I'm gonna be honest. I was waiting. Also, those text messages that I'm sorry.
I felt that you were nice and all that. I liked you and all that, but we can't run this no more.
Yeah. But I'm gonna be honest. If he now goes to another podcast and he starts to do that.
Hey, in my position, hey, like I said, I ain't got no hate. But if that's how you feel like, nigga, do you?
I'm gonna be honest, then I would feel some type of way. I'm gonna be honest for myself.
My guy starts swinging.
I'm not gonna start swimming because I'm gonna catch a charge over here. I'm a good citizen. But I'm gonna go ask some questions.
Understandable. Very
I'm
understandable.
gonna go ask some questions like, hey, my dude, what's happened? You said this and that, but not your that and this. What's going on?
He starts swinging.
But that's
near there.
As much as I've known Pyry, I know that he is not that type of guy because he has been true to his word from the get-go. That I have met him, and up until today, he's been a very, I would say, underappreciated man. Even when we were in college and we were studying for business economics, he was very underappreciated. Now from my perspective, because he was a smart guy, and more so, he was a very, I would say, hardworking guy. like he actually, when he wanted to improve something, he actually did. And it showcases, if you go back and look his podcasts, our podcast when we started the podcast, and now significantly he has improved. I'm not saying that he's perfect, nobody is. But what I'm saying that from the get-go that he started the podcast and now how he can do a podcast,
Noticeably better.
Completely night and day. You can see that.
And even the way he thinks about, at least what I've, like with the short time that I've noticed or known him, I've also noticed the way he thinks things has changed a little bit as well. That he, of course, hanging out with us and having those topics of, like, example, backgrounds, so on, how we used to be, and so on, has grown a little seed on, change of tonality, change of having more cajones on saying certain things, and so on, so on. So that's something. So he definitely has, like, gone
Yes, sir.
up on his way, and I hope that he keeps pushing forward and pushing on becoming even better.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna be honest. I can see him from now in 5 to 10 years. I can see him doing some kind of teaching job. Consultant, consultant, teaching, some kind of like advisor in a sense. That job, and he has a good wife and maybe one child from 5 to 10 years from now.
Where's our child, man? What the hell?
What you
Where's
mean?
the wife?
What you mean? Do you want a wife?
Yeah.
All right, I got you.
God damn, in this season's be kind of.
I got you. What you want? Chocolate, caramel.
I don't
vanilla?
discriminate, but
Oh, you want it all?
Fortunately, nowadays.
How many wives you want?
That's CV. Leave it to the CV. Leave it to the CV. But yeah, about also the commonalities on how we had the conversation about the breakup. It's also that we all have experienced it in some type of way, so it was much more easier for us to accept the situation, I would say.
Yes, sir.
And go through it because we kind of like have been there before, and we knew how to maneuver through it without having too bad of blood. Because I bet if this was kind of, in a sense, the first breakup, one of us would probably be like, "What you mean you gonna break up like that? Oh, hell no!"
Just because you feel like it? Who the hell do you think you are?
Start causing a whole type of scene. But hey, it is what it is. But also, hey, about the forwarding the episode, we had like a lot of ideas on. Well, first was that should we introduce another co-host to our channel, and we have a lot of options. We got a couple of friends that would be willing to do the podcast with us, but the issue was that who would be so committed that they would like come to each and every episode to do. Well, all come to do each and every episode with us. Not somebody who just pops up here and there and disappears. And pretty much behave like a guest. So we kind of stuck on that department that we're just gonna do it.
Yes.
Us two. And if we find somebody, we just gonna bring them along. But for now, we're gonna focus more on bringing guests onto our episodes. So we're just gonna do it us two and probably different guests each season, each episode.
Yeah. If it come, because of course you have seen our guests, and the point of our guest is that when we bring a guest, they are not just there for the looks.
I thought they were for the looks. What do you mean they're not for the looks?
If we wanted to, I could bring some D-cup woman.
That's what we want.
Oh, you want that?
Man of culture. What you mean, man? That's what we want.
I thought you are a man of man. You are a man of God. You want to go and
business mindset. We need that.
You want the clicks.
Yes.
So the next time we have that bimbo over here holding the sign.
There you go. Somebody's gonna cancel us out right now. Somebody's gonna cancel us out. But yeah, like having a guest, and like we said, we have a whole list of people who would be willing to give out their opinions on certain subjects. Because I have had one of my friends who'll be like, when you go invite me to talk about certain topics, such a controversial topic, especially.
I see.
And I was like, shit, we gotta see about that. How fast we want to get canceled out? We go see about that.
Well, actually, the man who now broke up with us, the man who went away, he was the first time that we got canceled because we shared a TikTok post and it got shut down.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, because I was thinking that, okay, I would be the main reason if we ever get canceled. I would be the main reason. But then I'm posting the TikTok and maybe a day, 2 afterwards, I'm going to check, is there any comment, because I don't do the notification on TikTok. I'll go and check. I'm looking. There is no video. I'm like, nah.
Where the video go?
Where the video go? I'm like, nah, it cannot be. And I click on it. It says your video has been removed.
Damn.
I was like, bet then. I put that exact same video again.
Ah.
But this time, I don't know why it didn't cancel. Maybe it wasn't that offensive that how they saw it.
Did it have music in the background or something?
There was, but it was like I took the music from the TikTok.
Okay,
you get what I'm
so
saying? It wasn't
copyrighted.
No, it's not the copyrighted thing. Now I'm smart about it. You know me.
You never know. And also, hey, the idea of bringing a female guest, because we haven't had any female guests,
Yeah, that's
so
true.
that was something that we thought about.
Here, I've witnessed. I'm talking about now for my personal experience. I witnessed that in Finland, females they are much more open-minded and much more intelligent.
Oh,
and I would say than Finnish males.
Oh yeah.
And much more hardworking, in general cases. I'm not saying everybody, like construction workers, hats off to you, my brothers, or the garbage men, hats off to you, my brothers. Like, you are hardworking people. But I'm talking about in general senses, female in this country is tad better working and having open, honest communication than males. However, maybe 95% of the time, even the girl that I told you that I met, that she was in school that we went to, I met her, and she has a bunch of stuff, that very cool stuff, and she has experienced as well these mental side effects, or how it will affect your life, and she has had pretty many struggles. It would be awesome. It would be awesome to us and to her as well to bring the podcast, and she would share her story and share her thoughts and opinions about the very delicate subjects. Where does the issue come? The English language.
Well, that's something we have spoken about as well, that technically, to boost out this channel, well, what I told them before in previous season was that technically they should have stuck to the original language of this country, because in English I'm not signing out that there's no possibility of pushing this channel out in English, and of course if it pops out, and when it pops out in English, we have much larger audience in a sense. But in Finnish we have much more of a rapid audience in a way, because YouTube kind of would push out based on your location as well.
Yeah.
And especially when you speak in Finnish,
Yeah,
we have had much more easier on bringing out guests as well, because a lot of Finnish speakers don't like to speak English, for example, in videos, because of course you have to think about the word, and it might feel kind of awkward in a sense. So if we had used the native language, we would have most likely had better audience in how do I say?
Better audience, but also more guests.
Exactly.
That would be 100%, because we could bring a very we talked about one day the body positivity thing. I could bring a very specialized professional lady who has like worked with this stuff, and she has a knowledge that's beyond our knowledge. She could sit here and tell us about the body positivity thing. But if she does that in English, it's not that she doesn't know English. She knows very good English. The problem comes, for example, that when she speaks in her mind, it doesn't sound good.
It doesn't sound right, and how comfortable she is with the language as well, because that was the first thing.
And the second thing, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
The second thing is the camera. Even I myself, that I pride myself for having a showmanship level and skill, regardless of the audience. I can go out in front of any audience and just put a show.
Yap some shit.
Because I have a big mouth.
Oh, he said it.
I have it.
I'm a witness.
I can have it. Let's say like that. I can have it if I want.
He already said it.
I still had to get to used to be in front of camera when I started this podcast. Maybe 2-3 episodes it took for me in order for me to be okay with the camera being there, that it's recording, it's watching us all of a sudden.
And then you gotta put your face in the full
on screen. When I saw my face first time in TV, I was like, I look kind of good. Hey, hold on, huh?
Hey, you know what's the weirdest part? The moment when I gotta edit it. And
Ah.
I was like, looking at it. This nigga look weird. Man, I think this don't work, man. I kind of look goofy in this part. What's going on over here? Hey, but it takes a lot of getting used to it, being in front of camera. And like we said, in Finnish culture, not a lot of people like to be in front of camera, in a sense.
Or even talk.
Or talk publicly.
Publicly or privately. I'm going deep on this. I'm going deep on this.
He has a bitter taste or something.
Oh, I have a bitter taste. How in the hell do you ever say to yourself that you're a social human being and then you don't know how to hold up a conversation? No, F you. I don't care.
Damn.
At least be honest about it.
But yeah, like literally, we would have like a lot of people who would have like a lot of interesting topics to talk about. But the problem comes on the being in front of camera. Even though we have also people who would be comfortable being in front of camera, but then we have the second issue of speaking English, because like we said, most of them know English and are capable of speaking it properly or fluently, but how comfortable they are with using that language is a different thing. Because like even right now, I have to think what I'm saying in like 3 languages and try to keep the conversation fluent as well.
Yeah.
So you might notice that I might stutter in some part because I'm rerunning the word in my mind. Like, hold up, what does this even mean in English?
Yeah.
Even though I know English very well and I have like, I have passed the academic English in university. So that's the funny part. But because I don't like, I keep mixing words constantly. So that's why I said like if we would have used the native language of this country, there could have been way much more, I would say efficiency. Well, not efficiency, but kind of like
it would reach out.
Yeah, reach out a larger audience in a way.
Not larger, but it would reach out faster. Like you said, rapid.
Faster and larger audience for a reason of fluency of how we speak. Because I would have, at least personally, I would have used the native language as how I speak the whole thing. It would have been way faster. And I wouldn't have to think about what I'm saying too many times. And also, I would have been free to compensate words in English, for example.
Yeah.
Because like we said...
Well, why you compensate now?
Because I'm gonna be honest. I have had like the bad habit of mixing languages way too many times. And like we said, back after middle school, my example, I wasn't capable of speaking one language for long period of time. Like I had that issue even in army. Like I noticed that every time I spoke Finnish for a certain period of time, I started putting English words in between, and my comrades were like, "Speak the goddamn native language. Stop speaking the Finglish, Londonish, and whatever." You know, because they like to make jokes about English with saying speaking the language of London. I don't even. But they like
London West, come and suck Lee's lawn nuts, okay? You see where we going with this?
Hold on, what the?
Do you see where we going with
Hold
this?
on, what the fuck? He said what? What?
I'm gonna take a dot lad.
So yeah, so after middle school, I noticed that I don't speak any language, just purely that language. I keep mixing things up, and on top of that, because I also speak Arabic, so even with that, I have the issue of not capable of speaking that language purely. I just put words in between and compensate each language with another word and so on, so on. So my brain is kind of like messed up in that department. And might be my fault, but that's how I kept my conversation fluent and people understand me. So I've been surviving very well. So yeah,
Yes, sir.
so that's why I'm like, this channel could have been with the native language, but hey, it is what it is. We gotta do what we gotta do with what we have, and what we have. We gotta chill on the bed that we have sold right now. So
That's how it goes.
that's how we go.
That's how it goes.
But yeah,
We have made the decision, and we continue. Well, you couldn't make it because you came. You came.
I was forced into this shit.
Yeah, you were forced into this. But he is a prime example of like he had the qualities that as a podcaster we could benefit largely. What he had.
Talking about like human trafficking or something.
No, not like that,
You were
bro.
sold to this job.
Who said that?
Huh?
Who said that? Firstly, interesting conversation. That was the first thing that you had as a person. We could have a conversation about the interesting things, and more so you had, especially in that first time that I asked you for our guest, we talked about a relationship. You were the man. I can still see it is our third or second most watched episode. So of course, if you had that kind of conversation style and technique and flow, you're good for podcast. You didn't have a problem being in front of camera, and you didn't have a problem speaking English. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I have met also people who have all these traits, but just out of their own sheer will, they don't want to be displayed publicly.
You know the reason why I like to be comfortable in front of camera? Because people can't even see me in front of camera. Who's that dark shadow in the background? What?
I didn't say it. I might have, but I didn't say it.
Unfortunate circumstance, you know.
Unfortunate circumstance.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
However, like I said, I have like in my phone right now, I have a very beautiful lady who has all these traits. She's very intelligent, she's beautiful, and she's captivating as a human being, as a person. I'm not saying I did anything, but all I'm saying is that she has all those things. It would be amazing to bring her and showcase that even such a pretty face has a very deep sense of knowledge. Because the first time I met her, the first time I like saw her, of course I was like, well...
Oh, you said the bimbo in your head, I bet.
Not the she's not actually a bimbo, she's... How can I say this?
You thought about it.
Nah.
Oh, you lying.
I didn't thought about her, she's a bimbo, I thought more like she's calm, but if you get to know her, she's stupid. That was my first, like that was my first feeling, a vibe that I got from her. And when I got to know her more, I understood that she did it on purpose. Like that naivety, like, please stop, what are you doing? Like when she did that, she did it on purpose, or when she made jokes about, you know what I'm saying, like it was more of a play to not actually meet what it's truly in her heart. And it was my first interaction with her was actually in the group project. I was the only man. Yours truly. And props to this, every time that I have been with the group of ladies and I was the only guy and there was every other woman is just we had always best projects. But I understood why. I understood because when I am in the group, ladies are free to do the shit they need to do. I take full responsibility of every single human being that our group is doing. Therefore, if teacher comes up and tries to rip our a-hole, I'll take responsibility. They don't take anything. They don't get shouted at. So it frees the ladies to do job very free, and they do it very well. Of course, I'm included in the project as well. I'm not just
he's a chiller, yeah. Say my name when needed. Say my name when needed.
Well, I was more of a guy who, if anything went wrong, I got you. Don't worry about it, baby. And the first time I got to interact with her, it was more like, let's test it out, what's going on. Communication and commonalities.
What you say?
Communication and commonalities. And the first thing I noticed that she is a lot smarter than she seems to be. Like the outer presence that she gives is total opposite of what she actually is.
Kind of like she was playing a character?
Yeah, like playing a character, but not in a way that she's like hiding something, but more of a fact that she is not inviting, she's inviting attention in a way where it's all fun and games to her. Not in an evil way, don't get me wrong.
I mean,
it sounds evil, but it's not like that.
I mean, shit.
And then I started to see like, okay, because usually those kind of ladies, she was very fine. Can I say it like that? She was fine. And usually that kind of lady is expecting as a man for you to be more like all over her, being okay with what she says, even if it's the dumbest thing ever. And I looked at it myself that, okay, you're trying to act something and I can see through you, so therefore I'm gonna just joke about it.
Oh.
And every time she said something stupid, I said, you dumbass, you dumbass.
Goofy Abby.
But if she caught lacking, I said also the dirty stuff.
I thought you were a man of God.
Do you know what's the worst part? She was right back on it. She was that kind of woman. Like, she was witty, she was smart, and on top of that, she was very beautiful.
Am I hearing my nigga being in love for a moment?
I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
but I understood.
The way he's describing people right now, man.
But I understood the assignment. Let's say it like that. And I asked her. I have told this before. I asked her that because she knows English. She uses a lot of English phrases, like in the conversation, like you, for example, do. And I asked her that, is she interested in coming to the podcast, sharing her thoughts, because we were talking about social media, if I remember correctly. And she would be a good option because she has those experiences as attractive female usually has, where she would receive some random ass messages from random ass guys.
Don't tell me the freaky ones,
Brother, if
the slimy ones, slimy ones.
It was not this woman that I'm talking about, but another woman.
Oh, God,
completely separate. We are going back to that, but I'm gonna go back into what I'm saying with the arguments about this freaky stuff. Other woman, I met her somewhere, and I started talking to her, and she told me that she was offered, she was 19, 20, something like that. She was offered 5K for a phone call. She was offered 5K.
Did she take it?
To speak with another human being on the phone.
Did she take it? That's the important question.
My interest at that moment was like, I don't really give a shit, did you take it or not?
But did she take it?
I'm gonna be honest with you, my memory serves that she did.
I mean, hey, we're getting paid, baby. We're getting paid, baby. Yes, sir.
If I remember correctly, she did, but I cannot say for certain. I'm gonna
I
be
mean,
honest.
hey, at least that's way more respectable than certain OnlyFans.
5K
To call?
on the phone. Brother, I don't know about you, I would be on the phone all day.
Hey, yo, what's good, my... What you need, man? What you need?
You're already doing this job. Think about it.
And then we ain't even getting paid yet.
You ain't getting paid yet. Think about that. You're doing exactly this job. You're on the phone.
I would... Hey, yo, what you need, boss? Yeah. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about... Oh, what? Felicia said what? That bitch crazy, man. That bitch crazy. Man, I'll be... Whoo, especially if I'm getting paid like properly. If I get paid call... Man,
Bro.
I'm talking about whole life if you need.
All of a sudden, you see the signs.
All of a sudden, I am. Yeah. What? You see the Rolex? Yeah. It's shining, baby. Shining. It's heavy on my wrist. Heavy.
And from that to this woman that I invited her on the podcast, it would be a perfect opportunity for her to give her perspective in this kind of situations, where her perspective can be this, and then outside the world, how she sees it, outside of this whole like social media shenanigans. And I invited her, and she told me that she's not comfortable. She is comfortable because your boy, you know, but she don't want to be out in the public like in the podcast. And I said, all right, cool. Like, it's her choice. And I will be honest, we live in the same city. I haven't seen her for years.
Dang.
I just have her, well,
Contact information.
not only contact.
Socials.
The socials contact, you know.
Oh, that's
You know.
regular.
Yeah,
The good old.
Go. It's always funny that one chick, she stalked my Instagram and she said that, wait a second, why there are females following you who have thousands of Instagram followers, but you have only 300? I'm like, go ask them. How are you asking me?
Hey, you know, that's that good old, you know, game is game. Game is game, you know.
However, when I invited her, she told me this reason. This is also a valid reason. She doesn't want to be displayed in public like podcast. Like, and it's a very, I would say it's a very honest, and I understand it.
Especially in the culture that we live in.
Exactly. Like, I would just,
People don't even like to talk in bus stations, so what do you expect somebody to talk in front of like
that,
possibility of millions of people?
and more so, what about the consequences afterwards?
Yeah.
Like, it's easy now for us to say that, oh, it would be great that she would come here, she would look fine, also she would be smart. But then afterwards, what about the consequences? What about if she had a boyfriend, or she had relationships, not the relationships, but she had guy talking with a lot of guys, or she had these situations where if she come into the podcast, then she would be like more of in display, and it would ruin her relationship. And not maybe even just with that guy that she's interested, she could ruin a relationship with somebody that is very close to her. Like another woman, her best friend in a sense, or a father or a mother or a cousin. Like, we're talking about different ways that we have to see this perspective of her, but anybody else, that when they come into the podcast, what are then the consequences for them?
Because as we know, the podcasts they can be clipped, they can be downloaded, so they're kind of like internal in a sense that, what, not eternal. It is eternal term, that it never like disappears.
Yeah, eternal.
Eternal.
Yeah.
So that's that, and like you said, somebody can recognize you. That so and so and so, and especially for like let's say you have a controversial conversation
Yeah.
in podcast, and later on you try to example apply to certain job, and
There you go.
the recruiter sees your video from because some people been having that issue that they publish something online without thinking the consequence that happened later. In our situation right now, we don't give a shit. We don't give a shit.
Good that you mentioned this. You know the T. Pendel?
Yeah.
He had this situation where he interviewed people, and people were wilding. I don't know why. I don't know who he interviewed.
Hey, that's the Americans, baby.
But people were wilding.
That's the Americans.
He gets even today. He gets emails from people from those interviews saying, "Hey, could you delete that part from me because I'm trying to apply for school, or I'm trying to apply for a job, or I'm trying to have a relationship with this human being." And then all of a sudden there pops a video where she or he is completely out of hand. And of course, as an employer, you are looking at the reckless behavior. You're saying, well, I'm not employing that.
Yeah, because that would be like marketing that imagery, and people could connect that person with the company and so on. Which is, I understand it, but at the same time I don't, because that's kind of like two different lives in a sense. Because, we ain't the same person in the workplace as we are in like
Of course.
free time. So
Of course.
that's some big bullshit that people. But funny thing, I remember when I applied to military school, I had this the SUPO conversation. How would I say, secret service of Finland in a sense.
Oh,
There's,
okay.
police.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
not secret police, but you get the
Yeah.
the ones that question you, blah blah blah, to make sure that you are trustworthy to work in like office of like government or some stuff like that. So in that conversation, we went through the whole thing of, do you have a large public image, which is also really important of like working in like government job, because let's say you have a very controversial character, they might be a little hesitant on picking you to that job, not because you're a bad person
Or you're not competent.
or you're not competent, exactly, but how damaging would that be to the company's image, or to that party's image, I would say.
I'm gonna take you an example. Good as you're saying, I have examples of these. Fresh and Fit.
They had the same issue?
Not the same issue. No, the exact same issue.
Oh yeah, Fresh and Fit, man, fuck that shit. I thought Abba preached for him.
No, Abba and Priest. Fresh and Fit. The Fit, the taller guy.
They're partially Sudanese as well.
Yeah,
You're supposed to be the same country, my boy.
Exactly, you should be the same country as his. But he was a Fed before, you know that.
I remember. And wasn't he like still technically?
No. Do you know what happened? He went into law school, if I remember correctly, and he graduated from it, and he applied for the government office, government job. And then in the government job, he was doing that investigation agent stuff.
I remember.
And it is a very good job in the sense that, of course,
He was
high.
getting paid decently, like that was comfortable price.
Yeah, comfortable price, and also it is a very big responsibility job. So therefore, you will live good with that life. And then he starts to do a podcast in 2020. And after a month, 3 months, if I remember the story correctly, let's say 2 months, 1 month and a half, the government, the higher officers say, hey, if you want to do a podcast, you need to leave this job. So now he said that how much time I have. They said that 30 days, there's the inevitable 30 days or 2 weeks, something like. He had a time construct to think about it. But basically, the situation was that you cannot do the shit that he did in podcast and also be a government agent. So they asked you for the same reasons that do you have any big persona or you have a large scale of audience
publish stuff
that if you publish very controversial things, then they can tie you up to the government professionalism that they are trying to keep.
But funny thing is to that, because I get it. Like, let's say you are like, for example, agent, FBI agent or something like that. Of course, you don't want to have a public image because your job is to be discreet in a sense and not that visible.
Your whole point is to do the job and not be noticed.
Exactly. So you gotta be the gray man in a sense. But now that you have that big published, hey, ain't that
Yeah, exactly.
so shit like that. But at the same time, funny thing is actually in Finland we have even a military officer that is like that has a decent public image in like YouTube.
Yeah.
He has a whole podcast where he talks about sex, youth and stuff like that. All that like what normal people would talk.
Yeah.
And he's working an office job.
Yeah.
But he, well, some might know who I'm talking about if we have Finnish viewers. But this guy is like a full-on tatted guy. Like he's 30, 36, 35. So he's a really young guy. And he's captain actually.
Okay.
He's captain in military. So when I looked his podcast, I was like, so you're trying to tell me this guy at the same time is a military officer, but he has this type of shit, and he was chill. Like when I watched his clips, I was like, oh shit. So you could technically have a public image, but the thing that I think is required is not to connect yourself with your professionalism.
Yeah.
Like example, when you're doing a podcast, you're doing it as you, not with
the first of his situation, he was bashing on women. Like right, you cannot say you're a dirty whore and then go to be an agent in the office.
I mean, shit.
But here you're absolutely correct. I don't know this person, but I can see it happening that outside of his job, he's still a normal person that likes to do podcasting.
And he because even during his military time, he had the big controversy of, imagine professional military officer that is full on tatted out. Like from the neck down, the whole body's tatted.
Yeah.
You know, when you see somebody professional, clean cut, just think about, nothing crazy, might be a hand tattoo and all that, but, clean cut and shape. But this motherfucker look like a crayon, respectfully, he's a cool guy, but, look like a crayon paper. And you gotta tell me I gotta take him professionally?
That's tough.
Right, but that's tough. But he was one demonstration to me that you can have like a public image even though you have a job that requires you to be really professional in a sense. But it's also funny that you being checked that you're not that large of an image. But of course they always ask that, do you have a political stand or a political background? For example, one of your family members is a political figure and so on and so on. So you wouldn't have that advantage in a sense or the big, how would I say?
Discreet difference?
Well, usually if you have a public figure family member, you would have like, let's say you do something bad.
It's tied to
It's tied to that, and they don't want to give out the imagery that you have a better position. Even when you applied for like certain Kela-hakemukset.
The social.
Social benefits. They ask you for like, do you have a political background or so on so.
Because they make a lot of money, brother.
But yeah, that's that.
That's that. But yeah, those are the things that, and it would be interesting. I'm gonna say it like this: it would be interesting if we could have two female co-hosts, and it would.
Yeah, boy.
Nah, bro, not like that. But it would be a good dynamic to everyone, in my opinion, because it would balance out the man and female parts, and also we do have those conversations, those arguments, those conflicts where we can look at the very very same thing from a 4 different or 40 different perspectives. And from that, the podcast actually is more richer at that point.
Well, that would be like optimal situation.
But that's the optimistic
optimal situation.
But it would be an optimal situation. But like I said, it would be great. However,
and we never know.
These are the cards that we are being dealt.
And we gotta play what we got.
And we have to play with these what we got.
Exactly.
So, what you think, my brother? What are our next steps for our future after we get over this breakup? Or have we got over this? What you think?
Still tough, man.
Still tough, man.
I think about it every time I go to shower, man.
Do you curl up yourself?
You know, and I also take my drink with me, chill. You know, when you have that little chair with you in the toilet.
I don't have it, but
you know, you get the little stall or whatever. You take it to the, you let the shower head rain on you. Just chill down, have a drink with you, play a sad song, think about your life. Why he had to do me like that? Man, fuck that nigga. Some shit like that.
I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say
that I want it that way. Hey, that's a good start to finish the episode. Unless you got some great things.
I don't have any great things anymore. I just asked the future of this, but.
Actually,
okay.
Last thing I want to ask you as well.
Okay.
So, do you have a vision? Where would you want to actually push this channel right now on the cards that we actually have been dealt with? Because as we know, we had the image in like early this season and in previous season how we're gonna go forward with this with 3 co-hosts. But now that we don't have anymore the third person, how would you want to push this forward with 2 people? At least for now.
For now, I'm gonna be honest with you. Before and after, my vision has stayed the same. That we do 100 episodes all together.
Dang.
So now we are 30 in.
Yeah, we yet halfway through.
This season, 10 more, it's 40. So it means that we have only 6 seasons more, and we are at the 100 episodes. And then after 100, where we have reached that threshold, then we see that where does it go? We can have few more seasons. If we see the rise in the viewership and the subscriptions, and we start to see the success in this podcast after the 100th episode and beyond, then yeah, I believe that it is smart to continue. But since we are 2, I believe that we have to also interrogate.
Yeah, get on your knees, my boy. Get on your knees.
We have to integrate. That was my word that I tried to say. Interrogate. Say what you're gonna say.
I got a vision, my boy. I had a vision for I had a vision.
I see.
But we gotta. That's left for us to negotiate about after this, episode. And if it goes through, you will find out actually next episode if we have accepted it as game plan that we're going to use.
I see you. I have
a vision, bro.
I see you.
I have a vision.
And my integration would be that we will have either more guests into the podcast, or we would find someone who is good at conversation, can do this what we do, and is committed to it. Because we can find, like I said, we can find a person who is good at this. But are they ready to commit after they have all the other stuff that they need to commit? Do they have the need for obligation more that they have? Like the commitment part, just like in a relationship, as you can see, just like in a relationship, if you are truly committed, it is hard to find a person who will do this for more than 1 season or more than 2-3 episodes. And we understand it. It's not easy that we go and even now I don't know, have you noticed, but we have talked over for an hour.
Game is game.
Game is game. I'm telling you. However, it's not easy to come in front of camera knowing for a fact that after you publish the video, it's eternal. You will not erase it until someone from above in the internet world says, you know what?
This ain't worthy.
This ain't worth it anymore. And you also have to bear the consequences. Everything that I have said in this podcast, I will bear full consequences. Why? Because I have said some wild things in these episodes, not in just this, but in many episodes. I have talked about stuff that maybe is not very common, it's not very comfortable to talk about, but I bear full responsibility of it because I have said that with full conscience. I was not inebriated. I was not any drugs or intoxicated or drugs or alcohol or any kind of way. I knew fully what I'm saying. I knew fully what I'm doing, and I have to take responsibility for it.
Yep, I agree on that part, definitely. Of course, there's the saying that could we have rephrased what we meant? Yes, might be. No, maybe not. But like the point of what we tried to say is not something that we want to back down on. Because we stand on what we say, and that's the best way of going through. Be honest what you think about it. Don't try to bend and spread your cheeks for...
Jesus Christ.
Well, hey, that's how it be. Like, let's be honest. How we see a lot of, like...
Diddler?
Huh?
Diddler?
Pause.
But relax.
Pause. But
hey, yo.
Pause. But no, I mean, like, overall, how we see, like, some... podcasters or YouTubers or any like social, how would I say, influencers have been lately that they say something outrageous and everybody turns against them based on what they said, and then they back down on what they said.
Good that you
right
mentioned.
Away.
I have an example. You just bring us stuff and then I have an example. Shits and Gigs, the podcast. The two Shits and Gigs. They usually react to, and they are two guys from UK.
Okay.
And they react to usually from stuff, and they have a big podcast. Like I'm not taking anything away from them, and we strive to be very similar to them in a sense of like audience and the way of the podcast is done. So tremendous respect for that. But I lost respect for them when they had this situation, the exact situation. They had this dark sense of humor, comedy, outrageous stuff that they talked about a variety of subjects. One of the subjects was black female. So we can imagine what kind of stereotypical things that they said. And it's very normal, it's all fun and games. But then they went to the Andrew Schulz podcast. The Flagrant 2 is the right podcast name. And there the Andrew Schulz actually said that when you get with a black female, you start to like groom yourself a little better.
You start looking.
You start to
crispier. Have you seen the Asian guy? Oh my days! That guy went drippy like.
And they were talking just about that. And then the Andrew Schulz says a joke about, do you know why they grow out the beard, for example? Because they can have a better tolerance for slaps that the black females does.
Jesus.
Like very stereotypical and a funny thing.
I mean, game is game, you know.
Game is game. But they got tremendous backlash from that.
You say about black women like that, blah blah blah.
Basically.
Some shit like that. I bet.
Don't get me wrong. About 3 to 4 months. Correct somebody if I'm mistaken. But during some period of time, they said for black women more outrageous joke. These two podcasters who were in the podcast of Andrew Schulz, Flagrant 2. And Andrew Schulz makes a joke. They too laugh. They get outrageous backlash from it. They come to the next podcast. We are very sorry. It was never meant to this. I'm looking at you, bitch ass. You bitches. At least own up to it that you laughed and it was a funny joke. It was not meant to discriminate anyone, because the fact is that not all black females are like that.
That's why I like actually comedians, certain comedians who are like literally like, man, I couldn't give a shit.
You get what I'm saying? Like, if
I
you
couldn't give a shit. That's my job.
like, and I understand that maybe you have some sort of type of way that you feel, but my point was that you have already said more outlandish shit before.
Own up to it.
Why at this moment in particular time when you get backlash, all of a sudden you backpedal and you start to act like, oh, I'm so sorry. No, I'm not, I don't respect that.
But you know what's the issue with that? It's not necessarily the viewers only that, you know, get the backlash, but also sponsorship. Because a lot of them are like connected with certain income.
Yeah.
And, you know, the companies might, you know, send them a message, hey, yo, what you did right there, you know. I don't think if this business is gonna work anymore, if you can't keep, you gotta make an apology, you know what I'm saying?
Do you want me to apologize? A black girl on me? What you talking about?
I mean, shit. So I kind of like get it in a way.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's also a financial reasoning behind it, why they make it. For example, we have the great old certain influencers like Paul Walker. Logan Paul or something.
Rest in peace, Paul Walker.
Paul Walker, hey, yo, my G. But like Logan Paul and stuff like that, like Paul brothers. Motherfucker had so many controversial. Even PewDiePie, he had a controversial situation, and you know the apology that came afterward. You're like, nah, you were way too comfortable before. Like, hold on, where this apology coming from? And also, always you notice that the apology is very formal.
Yeah,
it feels of kind of like written by somebody.
And it is written.
It is written because, you know, but that's why I say that there's certain companies behind them that like finances or like are their income source, so they have to do it unless they don't want to lose, you know.
And listen, I'm not saying that. I'm gonna be honest also with you and with myself that if and when we get bigger audience, I will be more careful what I say.
Of course.
Right? Because I also understand that there might be someone who is not very familiar with the way I talk or the way I speak. And more so, do you know it can be also the worst part that somebody says that he's a very smart person for us, for example, or we are very smart and we know about this a lot, and they, for example, scroll somewhere and we are saying some
outlandish thing.
We are saying some outrageous like, hey yo, what the and they take it seriously then. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like at that point we understand the cause and effect situation. But right now, there's no companies behind us. And even if they are, I'm gonna be very honest with them. Like, listen, we make jokes. We make a lot of jokes. We talk a lot of shit. If you are not comfortable with it, please be honest at least.
Because like I said, shit we say is the shit we mean. Of course, there's a way to rephrase it differently. That's why every time we say certain jokes, I'm like, with all jokes, if somebody really understands it, to clear it out, the meaning.
Yeah.
Is the point different? No.
Of course not.
Like when you say, fuck that nigga, dude.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be honest, fuck that nigga, but you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, in certain contexts, of course. So, yeah, if and when we have a bigger audience, of course, certain things has to be rephrased differently. Like, we don't say straight out like certain things, but we mean it in the same way still.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, we never know. For example, we might have a lot of even younger audience. Because that's the other thing why people tend to like apologize later on, because they have a lot of younger audience.
Yeah. If I know
that affects the sponsorships.
Of course, if I know that I have children watching me, I will not curse.
Right now, man, suck up.
Now I have cursed in this podcast, I have cursed in many other podcast videos that we have done. But if I know for a fact that there are children watching me and there is a big audience of children, I will try avoid cursing altogether. Why? Because I am the example, because I'm in front of camera and they are watching me.
Amen. Gotta be respectful and show the way to the younger audience as well.
Yes, sir.
That you can be still yourself, but you can do it courteously.
Yes, sir.
And with dignity.
My brother, Is it a good time?
It's good time. It's good time to wrap it up. You know, I gotta go pump some metal as well. You went to gym already?
Yeah, I don't skip. Even
I gotta
Labor
go.
Day, holiday.
We always work. Actually, my coach sends me a work schedule again on next week. I keep getting my work.
Let's go.
Let's go. But hey, like we say always, let's wrap it up in a good way. You got final words you want to say?
I don't actually have any final words more than we have said.
How was your feeling after a breakup? You know, to have a episode?
Now I'm better. Now I'm better.
That's
But yeah, to be honest, I was, like I said, I was bamboozled, and it was bamboozled. But it was a situation where I didn't want it to happen, because I like that if we start with you something, we also end it with you. However,
it is life. Unfortunately, like we said, we would like to keep certain people in our life, but if you feel that it's not beneficial for you right now, or you want to move on without certain things, fine by me. As long as the experience was enjoyable, fine by me.
It was.
So we can't really hold anybody back, and we can't force anybody to do anything, and that's that.
Of course not. Of course not. And I wish that people take it the way it is, the way we said it. We are not taking this out of context. I don't want to see any hate comment about no, they drove him out, or he wasn't. He was
the black guy.
He was the black guy.
He was the black guy.
If I see those kind of comments, I will not delete it, but I will 100% answer you in a way where you don't want to be answered. This is a promise.
Now you're just pushing some keyboard
Let's
warrior,
go there.
Keyboard warrior to get
Let's
excited
go there.
for a moment.
Let's go there.
See.
But yeah, hey, all peace and love. You know what to do. There are some buttons over there. Like, comment, and subscribe. And for the rest of the podcast, these are the cards that will be playing.
And of course, you can always give some review about the DG mics, how well they've been working, because at least what we previewed, they seem to sound very nice and very fine quality. So hope you like the mic sound and get to enjoy more later on. So see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching, and like what brother said, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and we shall see you in the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
Oh shit.